Hi folks, Wooden Boat Dan here at the Hooked on Wooden Boats boat yard in Stanwood, Washington, where boat building is a way of life. It's happening day and night, folks. Come out and see us sometime. Anyway, I thought I'd give you an update on the Peeler Skiff, but before I do, I wanted to mention that I do also have a podcast called Hooked on Wooden Boats, if you haven't heard that. There's about 30 episodes online now. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Anchor, your favorite podcasting app. So check it out. Also, my buddy Derek, and a shout out to you, Derek, down in Mosier, Oregon. Let me know that I was mentioned, the podcast that is, was mentioned in Wooden Boat Magazine in the most recent issue. They put an article in there, short article saying I had revived the podcast after it had gone on life support for 4 years, and I've got 217 episodes to publish over the next couple of years. So check it out if you get a chance. So lots happened on the Peeler Skiff since we talked last, and I thought I would do a little video tour here and tell you what's happening. I'm about 100 hours into the build, and boat building has got 10 gazillion steps, folks. And most of those steps have to be done in some kind of order. You can't get ahead of your skis, so to speak. One of the steps that takes a lot of time is that every piece of the boat, every piece of wood on the boat has 3 coats of epoxy. And when you're putting 3 coats of epoxy on, you can do what's called hot coating. So you can apply your first coat and wait about 6 to 8 hours till it's just tacky, kind of like masking tape. Then apply your second coat, wait another 6 or 8 hours, apply your third coat. If you don't get the second coat on while it's still in that early stage of curing to full hardness, then you have to sand between coats. So hot coating saves a lot of time, but it also takes a whole day. If you start early in the morning, I can get 3 coats in a long day. And so you're putting 3 coats on parts of the boat, and then you're waiting for it to dry. And you've got to have a temperature, you're supposed to have a temperature above 60 degrees for the brand of epoxy that I'm using. And so anyway, that takes a lot of time. And then after you get your third coat on, then you've got to sand the epoxy. And then after that, which I'm not there yet because it's kind of the final steps, you've either got to put varnish over the epoxy, and I typically do 8 to 10 coats. And that's why I'm not doing a gazillion coats on this boat. I mean, that's why I'm not varnishing a lot of the boat. But I am varnishing the transom and the gunnels and the stem and the breasthook and the stern quarter knees. So you've either got to do varnish or you've got to do undercoat paint and then 2 to 3 coats of paint on top of that with some sanding in between. So the finishing and applying epoxy to the boat takes, I'm going to say it's a third of the build time, maybe more than that. Derek, what do you think? Chime in, brother. Anyway, let's take a tour of the boat. And before I do though, I did want to give a shout out to my grandkids also. Nora, Walter, and Otto, Frankie, Lois, and Ruthie. Love you guys. Hope you're watching. Okay, let's do the video tour here. I'm gonna flip the camera around if I can figure out how to do that. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm back for the video tour. So here we go. So starting at the bow of the boat, I'm gonna go wide angle on this puppy. I think I can figure out how to do it. Let's see here. Oh, it won't let me do it. Okay, anyway. So I've got the stem is epoxied into place. This is the stem here. This is the stem. And this is the breast hook. That's epoxied into place. Now, and I did put a hole through the stem here so I can put a rope up there if I want to. The front of the stem, it has not been shaped yet. I've left a lot of extra wood there because when I'm going to put a strip of wood down the front of the boat here. When I turn it over, it's like an outer stem. It's going to come up and meet this stem, and I'm going to give it a nice shape. So it looks kind of weird right now, but anyway, got that done. The other thing I did is I put cleats. I put these pieces of wood along all the, where the seats are going to get joined to the boat. You can see all my cleats here, all these pieces of 3/4 by 1 inch cedar or fir. I got those in place. Then I painted the inside of my lockers white because once I put the seat tops on, they're going to be a lot harder to paint. So I got those all painted up on both sides. You can see that there. And I got the front area here painted. And I cut out I did the 2 cutouts here under the, this is where the center console is going to go and the seat. So those have little panels in them. I cut those out. And let's see here. And then I put in this support here. This is going to support the seat. And I've been working on the seats over here. So this is the front seat, and you're looking at the bottom of it. And I just got the 3rd coat of epoxy on it today. And now this little piece of wood along here is called the doubler. So you can see that doubler is about 3/8 of an inch thick. That goes underneath the seat along the edge, so it stiffens the edge. Also makes it look a lot nicer because the wood's a little bit thicker. So I just got that glued on today. Believe it or not, that was cut out by a computer CNC machine, which is pretty sweet. I got my little filler blocks in here because if you recall, I cut these frames down. They had big rounded edge here. I cut these down to make it look more traditional, and so I had to fill these spaces here that were set up for the bigger pieces to go through the sides there. So then here is the main seating. It's actually 3 pieces of plywood puzzle jointed together. So I glued that together, and I put my spacers in there where the frames are going to go. And then I put my doubler on, and this doubler is cut by the computer also, which is really amazing. It fits real good. Got that clamped up, and you can see the puzzle joints here, and here, and here. So I got 3 coats of epoxy on this. So tomorrow I will pull all the clamps off this. Whoops, sorry about that. I will pull all the clamps off and sand this. So that'll be ready to go on the boat. Except that, well, yeah, no, I'll do a little bit of sanding on the edge here along this doubler, just kind of smooth that off, and then sand the bottom here. And I'll have to trim this off, this little piece here and here. So once that's done, then that sits on top of this whole area here. And it actually hangs out this way, about 8 or 10 inches, something like that. But before I can put that seat in place, I've got to get all my sanding done down here. I put my glass tape on and stuff, but there's a rough edge along here that's got to be sanded. You can kind of see it. So before I put the seat on and lose access to this whole area, I'm going to get as much sanding done as I can on that so that I don't have to try to do it after the seat is in. So I am making progress, and it's good progress. And I'm about 100 hours into it. I think I already mentioned that. So anyway, at the end of this video, I've got a time lapse of me painting the inside of the locker areas, these areas here. If you want to watch that, it's only, I don't know, it's 15, 20 seconds long. And yeah, so the boat is taking shape, folks. I'm making progress. Today was one of those days where it felt like I was making progress, but the progress was too slow. It's like, oh, come on. Really? I got to sand some more. Derek, you can feel my pain, I'm sure. Everybody that's building boats, wooden boats like this, knows there's a lot of sanding when you use epoxy. So anyway, I'll get the inside of the boat sanded. I will install the seats, and then I will have to fillet the seats along the outside edge and tape those and get that sanded. I'm going to do as much inside of the boat as I can before I flip the boat over. So hopefully I'll be flipping the boat this month. That's my goal, because I really want to have this boat done by June, the middle of June, because that's when our camping trip is, and I'd love to take the boat camping, go maybe do some fishing, pull the grandkids around on tubes, or just go out and bump around in the Columbia River over in eastern Washington. So anyway, that's the update, folks. You can email me if you'd like to at woodenboatdan@gmail.com. Again, woodenboatdan@gmail.com. Keep the bright side up and the barnacled side down. Wooden Boat Dan, over and out.